This is GrantTalk, hosted by Libby Hikind, founder and CEO of GrantWatch and author of The Queen of Grants.
Hi, I'm Libby Hikind, founder and CEO of GrantWatch.com, and I'm your host today on GrantTalk. Sitting with me here today is Brenda Swan, and she's the Director of Grants and Operations at the St. Johns County Cultural Council. And we're very pleased to meet her because we've had a number of their grants on GrantWatch over the years. And there are new grants out right now and some upcoming as well. So let's first meet Brenda and see how she got involved in this organization.
Hi, thank you, Libby. So I've been with the St. John's Cultural Council for about just a little over 2 years. And before that, I worked with them as a consultant, helping with their grants. And then it became clear they needed a full-time person, and I made myself available for that. Prior to that, I worked in museums and wrote grants for museums and other cultural organizations, and started my own business as a grant writer, and that's how I got in with the Cultural Council, and then eventually started full-time there. So I've been doing grants for about 15 years, 20 years.
So what does St. John's actually do? Who do they represent?
So we are the local arts agency for St. Johns County. So that means we've been designated by the county to be the supporter of the arts. And we also work with our county's Tourism Development Council. So, technically Tourist Development Council. And we help them manage a grant, or we manage the grant funding for them for arts, culture, and heritage organizations who are bringing visitors to St. Johns County. St. Augustine is located in St. Johns County, and it's a big tourism area. So that's a big part of funding for the county, and the bed taxes that are collected, we get a portion of that we manage to provide funding for programs and marketing arts, culture, and heritage.
So who's eligible for your grants?
So you have to be an organization or a business. You can be for-profit. You don't necessarily have to be nonprofit.
Well, that's very interesting. We get lots of phone calls. Are there grants for for-profit organizations?
So there is in a bigger grant or tourist development grant. You don't have to be. Most of the applicants are, but the for-profit organizations, if they're doing an event in the county that is arts, culture, and heritage related, they can apply for funding for that event. Some of the nonprofit organizations can apply for what they do year round if they have a facility like a museum or a theater or something like that. So a for-profit couldn't do that, but they can get funding to advertise their event and to the event expenses as well.
So a music program, a Sunfest, something like that?
Yes, which just happened down there last week, right?
Right. So we have for-profit and nonprofit applicants, and how much could they expect to receive if they apply?
So with our grant program, it depends on the budget for your event or for your annual budget if you're a year-round organization. So it's a percentage of that. And so it varies. It can be up to $50,000.
Wow. Listen to that, everybody. Up to $50,000.
Yes, if you make over $200,000, somewhere in there, $167,000, it varies from year to year depending on the guidelines. But you need to make over a certain amount to get that full $50,000. If you're an organization or an event that's less than $100,000, you can get up to 50% of your budget. So it just depends on how much money you bring in and how much money you spend.
Right, and you want to see organizations that know how to manage funds. So that's why you have your funding amounts.
Correct. And the idea is that also when they get the funding, it next year increases what they've made. They continue to grow and build their capacity through our grant program as well.
Right. And can they apply again to you?
Most of our applicants are returning. So, yep.
So they build a relationship with you. They can prove to you that they've managed the funds correctly. They've done what they said they would do. That is great. And what kind of programs have you funded in the past that you really like?
So some of my favorites are with some of the organizations that provide free events, such as Romanza, which this year we helped them bring in Count Basie Orchestra. They're coming May 12th to St. Augustine, so that's pretty exciting. We also work with the St. Augustine Music Festival, and it's the largest free music festival in at least the United States for chamber music. And they're bringing in Marcus Roberts. The month of June here is we are celebrating the 60th anniversary of the civil rights demonstrations that occurred here that helped bring about the passage of the Civil Rights Act. And so Marcus Roberts and Count Basie are a part of all of that celebration.
If they're listening to you, they're hearing that St. Augustine is the place to visit for lots of new culture and old. Yes. And they can apply for grants if their organization is in St. Johns County.
So if they're not in St. Johns County, but they're doing an event in St. Johns County, they would also be eligible for these funds. We have other grants that are specifically, you have to be in St. Johns County, but this particular grant, you can be located, you can have a business in Jacksonville or, pretty much anywhere else. And as long as your event is located in St. Johns County, you can apply for the tour.
What if they're in another state? Can they apply?
Yep. As long as the event is occurring in St. Johns County, they can.
That is great. That's great. That opens it up wide to a lot of cultural organizations. I'm really pleased to hear that. So how has GrantWatch helped you over the years? Have you seen?
Well, it's definitely gotten more grantees, more awareness of our grants. And with this grant program, as well as some of our other grant programs that are less tied to tourism, we get funding from the state of Florida through the license plate sales, the state of the arts license plates. Each county gets a portion of the funds from those that, so every registered vehicle in a county with that license plate, the county will get some of those funds, and the county designated those to come to the local arts agency, come to the St. John's Cultural Council. And we use those strictly for grants. We don't fund ourselves with them in any way. It's not a big pot of money, but we're able to fund some smaller groups and individual artists with that because we don't have to worry about what they're doing is specifically tied to tourism. So it can be a teacher, it can be an individual artist wanting to create, something new. We like to have a public aspect, but it doesn't have to be tourists.
So what do you call that grant?
So we call it the State of the Arts grants. So our Tourist Development Council grants are open right now. They close May 31st, the applications for those. We have that coming in. We usually get around 30 to 35 applicants there. And then our State of the Art grants are in September. They're open for the month of September. The application is a lot less involved than what the Tourist Development Council application is. So we don't have to have it open for 2 full months, just 1 month, but that is coming up. And we really enjoy a lot of the things that we fund with that. This year, we funded a first-time theater program at an academy, a K-8 academy here.
That's wonderful. When you bring it down to the children, I love it.
So that was great. And so we have that. We also we received funding from the National Endowment for the Arts. We wrote a grant to them to grant funding, to sub-grant to artists and arts organizations that are smaller, that have less than $150,000 budget, and then individual artists as well. And we had a first round of funding and we funded 6 programs, lots of good arts and music programs to the schools. With that, also bringing in a lot of programs for those that are differently abled. We're a theater program that's called as a part of the Penguin Project, which is a national project, but a local theater applied for it. So that means they have developmentally disabled students with
mainstream,
right?
Mainstream inclusion.
They're all on stage together and doing a play together. So, and then another one where they're working with kids from the School from the Deaf and Blind here in St. Augustine. So just being able to do that, and we are actually trying to increase that funding. We're going to apply again to the National Endowment for the Arts, but we also are talking with our county commission about it, about the program, and it's been positive. So hopefully in this next budget round, we'll get some general revenue funding as opposed to just tourist dollar funding too.
So what I'm hearing is you apply and then you figure out how you're going to divvy it up to programs that really are viable, they're going to be sustainable, possibly replicable as well. And right. And so your budget, you apply, you get it into your budget, then it goes out. And we list them on GrantWatch. So everybody should know that when you have a grant, it comes out on GrantWatch. And if you don't know how to apply for a grant and you want to, you're a for-profit or a nonprofit, you can look at, purchase the book. And just making a little commercial here because I really went through every single part of applying for a grant. And I'd like people that want to come in and do wonderful programs that you have eligible and that they would know about it. So I'm really glad that GrantWatch has helped and that you're able to use us and we can promote your grants as often as they come out. Do you find that you're giving the same grants over and over again, like every year the same grant is available? So people, if they miss the deadline, they can go and apply again?
Pretty much our grants are cyclical, yes. Each year they're annual grants, particularly the Tourist Development Council grant and the State of the Art grant. Those are pretty much guaranteed funding. We are still working on the third, the Arts for All funding that we got from the National Endowment for the Arts, and hopefully getting additional help from the county on that so that those can also eventually be recurring.
What would be your tip or tips to grant seekers?
I think the biggest challenge that I see grant seekers have is understanding the fit, where they fit with what the grant is requiring, and making sure that they are applying to the right program and have all the information that they need, and understand too on the back end, once they get the grant, what will be involved with reporting. And particularly with the tourist development grant, it's a reimbursement grant, and the county has all sorts of requirements to get that. So understanding that full process and making sure that your event, your program is right for that particular grant. And this is true of really any grant.
Right.
And
check your eligibility. We say it all the time.
And good and fit too. Eligibility can be as simple as being a 501c3. But are you really what they're looking for? And then the time involved in managing it and making sure that it's, going to pay off for you, help you grow.
Well, I want to tell our listeners, if you want to hear more about grants that are available, tips from funders, you need to subscribe so we can continue bringing you Grant Talk every week. So hit the subscribe button. It's there on the right side of your screen or down below. And stay with us because we're going to bring you more as often as we can. And thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you for all you do to get the word out about grants available for all the places that you do it, and especially for us. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Grant Talk, powered by GrantWatch. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this GrantWatch channel. Please consider subscribing to GrantWatch.com. And you can find the book, The Queen of Grants, by going to GrantWatch.com/book. Thank you again for spending your time with us.